Welcome back! We are still here in the Jedi Academy on Dantooine, and since last time, we have been taken in for Jedi training. Apparently the Council here has deemed us exceptionally Force-sensitive, and in hopes of defeating Malik, they have told us that we need to learn the ways of the Force, so that Malik won't use us to his own advantage. Well, before we can become a fully fledged Jedi, we need to complete 3 tests. The first of which is to recite the Jedi Code, so let's go and talk to Master Jar about that now that we've learned it from the other Jedi Masters.
Greetings, my young pupil. Your progress has been most remarkable so far.
Okay, we've heard that already.
Soon your apprenticeship will end. In the traditions and
We've asked him what the tests were last time, and he told us only what the first one was, so hopefully, once we do this, he'll let us in on what the others are before we continue.
These tests will see if you have truly mastered the training. First, I will test. You must now prove you have a Jedi's understanding of the code by completing these fundamental precepts of our order. There is no emotion.
There is peace.
There is no ignorance.
There is knowledge.
There is no passion.
There is serenity.
There is no chaos.
There is harmony.
There is no death.
There is the Force.
You have learned your studies well, apprentice. It will not be long before you are a full member of our order. But first, you must pass the second test and learn about the most prized possession of a Jedi, the very symbol of our order. The lightsaber. The lightsaber is the traditional weapon of our order. It is a symbol of a Jedi's skill, dedication, and authority. And each lightsaber is as individual as the Jedi who wields it. The blade is made of pure energy, focused by polished crystals in the hilt. As the second test, each Jedi must construct his lightsaber with his own hands. And now it is your time. Speak with Master Dorak, and he will guide you through the choosing of a crystal.
Alright, we're gonna get a lightsaber now. Exciting. Let's talk to Master Dorak about how to do that.
Ah, you have come, young apprentice, at Master Zar's bidding. He sees great promise in you, as do I. The time has come for you to choose the color of your lightsaber. This color also reflects your demeanor and position within the Order.
Now, I've got to admit, when I first played this game, one of the things that was on my mind when this was brought up was something that I was struck with when I first saw the movies, and I mean the original movies, not the prequels, and that was whether the lightsaber colors were actually significant or not. Because I thought it was interesting how Luke Skywalker started off using a blue lightsaber, and then by the time he got to where he was in Episode 6, he finished with a green lightsaber. And then when I saw Episode 1, when it came out in 1999, I noticed that Qui-Gon, being the Jedi Master, had a green lightsaber, and Obi-Wan had a blue one. So naturally, I assumed that being green meant that you were more powerful, or higher ranked, whereas blue meant that you were either less powerful or lower ranked. But we know that this isn't really true, because we know that Obi-Wan also had his blue lightsaber up till Episode 4 when he got killed there. Not to mention that there have been other cases where this hasn't held up in the prequels too. So, this really wasn't the case, and I kind of threw away that notion after a while. But when this came up in the game, I was really curious to know what they meant by this. And I was also wondering if I could actually change my color, because I wanted to make sure I chose wisely, so I was wondering if I would get set with a single color.
A Jedi is not restricted to a single color. Rather, that color is a badge of pride for the Jedi path it signifies. Should you have an appropriate crystal, you may change your blade to anything you desire.
Okay.
But first, you should learn of the different paths a Jedi may take. Blue is the color of the Jedi Guardian. This Jedi battles against the forces of evil and the dark side. They focus more on combat training and use of the lightsaber. Yellow is the color of the Jedi Sentinel. This Jedi ferrets out deceit and injustice, bringing it to light. They focus less on combat and more on other skills and abilities. Green is the color of the Jedi Consular. This Jedi seeks to bring balance to the universe. They mediate between other groups, using their powers to end conflict and preserve peace.
Alright, this is the point in the game when we are about to change our class. That's right, we're going to be ditching our Scout identity, and we're going to be taking on a Jedi identity. And this is why I have refrained from leveling up past level 5. The reason why I've done this is because, like a lot of RPGs out there, this game has a level cap. However, unlike a lot of RPGs, this game has a very low level cap, and that is level 20. So, as you can probably imagine, you have to be very wise and very careful with how you distribute all your skill points and all your feats, and if you're a Jedi, all your force powers. Well, at this point in the game, you have to become a Jedi. And as such, I want to make sure that I have enough levels through which I can allocate force powers, because when I first played the game, I got to this point around level 8 or 9, and because of that, I only had about 11 or 12 levels left through which I could spread out all the force powers I wanted. But if I were to hold back and stop leveling up before I got here, then I could have more powers and more chances to spread them out. Now, you may be wondering why I did not do this earlier, why I didn't stop leveling up at like level 2 when we got off the Endar Spire. And that is because there's actually a bug in the game that messes up your party members if you do this. If you were to hold back your leveling up such that the difference between your XP and the XP required for the next level up from where you are is like greater than, I think, 20,000 or something like that, then your party members will not get the XP that you're getting if they're not with you, which is kind of a little strange. Now, thankfully, this doesn't exactly become an issue later on when the difference between levels is a lot greater, but for now, it's kind of a real pain if that were to happen. Now, I have done a practice run of the game where I've gone all the way through to the end, having stopped leveling up before becoming a Jedi at level 5, and thankfully this bug did not happen, so it won't be an issue. But the nice thing about this is that no matter what class you choose, you will keep your old class skills, and they'll still be class skills even if you're not a soldier, scout, or scoundrel, and will gain new class skills no matter which Jedi class we're going to get. We will always get Awareness, Persuade, and Treat Injury as class skills if we didn't have them already, and they are additions to the ones that we already have. They're not replacing them, they're additions. Now, you're probably wondering which of these I'm going to choose, and as you could probably tell from what Dorak was saying, each of these has a sort of a correlation to the classes from which we could choose earlier in the game. Guardian is, of course, the more combat-intensive one, and that matches Soldier. Sentinel, as he said, is the more balanced one, and it's kind of the equivalent of Scout, which is what we are. And, of course, Consular focuses on skills and abilities, and which in the case of a Jedi are force powers. And that, of course, ties in with the Scoundrel class. Now, you don't have to choose the class that matches what you chose earlier in the game. You can choose whatever you like, but thankfully, the game has made it such that if you make some really weird choices here, it's not exactly going to do you much good. And thankfully, starting out as a scout is pretty advantageous in many ways, so I could probably pick just about any of these choices, and I'd be, pretty much okay. But Guardian is probably the poorest of the three, if we were to narrow it down amongst the scout choices. So that leaves Sentinel and Consular, which were the ones that I was really torn between. And I have to be honest, I was going to do Consular for a while until I started practicing. And I discovered something that I didn't know about before getting to this part of the recording. And I didn't know about this, unfortunately, before I played the game for the first time and while I was going through it. And that is that not only does your class change, and not only do you gain more class skills, but you also change the number of class points that you can allocate for each level up. Now, if you have an intelligence level of 13 or lower, You will get 1 point per level up if you're a guardian or a soldier, 3 points per level up if you're a scout, and 5 points if you're a scoundrel, as we've seen with mission. However, if you're a Jedi and you have an intelligence of 13 or below, being a guardian or a consular will get you only 1 skill point per level up, whereas being a sentinel gets you 2. And as I said earlier, persuade is now going to be a class skill, and I definitely want to invest in that. I could have waited to invest in it until it became a class skill, but I did want to put some points into it while on Terrace, just so you could see what we could do with it while we were there. And that didn't always work, but at least I got a few chances to show you guys what that was like. However, now that it's a class skill, I can spend 1 point on it per level up instead of 2, which is going to be really convenient. And as I said earlier, I also want to put a lot of points into repair, for reasons that I'll explain later. So, my final choice is Sentinel.
Indeed. We shall see. I will now ask you questions, and your responses will indicate which class you lean most towards. A woman and her small child are beset by a desperate-looking group of thugs. They're menacing her with weapons, and she screams to you for help. What do you do?
Now, these questions won't really have any bearing on your ultimate choice as far as game mechanics go. It's just the game's way of trying to present you with some help as far as what might be best for you, and whatever your character is like. It's not really going to have any bearing on my decision, at least. Most of the time I've done this, he's said that I would be best as a consular. I would help them flee.
Indeed. Very well. On to the next question. You are in combat with a dark Jedi allied with the Sith. There is a pause in the combat. What do you do?
I would probably try to see it from the strategic angle. At least try to see how I can beat him.
Yes, I suspected as much. Now for the next question. There is a locked door, and your goal lies on the other side. What do you do?
Well, in the context of the game, probably bash it, but in real life, I would probably knock first before attempting that.
I am beginning to see a pattern here, apprentice. I have a feeling about what you would be best at. But first, the final question. You are the head of an enclave on a contested world. The Dark Jedi have infiltrated and are causing unrest across the planet. What do you do?
Probably try to catch them in some way.
Yes, I thought as much. As I suspected, you would be most suitable as a Jedi Sentinel. Which color and path do you believe yourself most suited to, apprentice?
Okay, I think that's the very first time I've ever played this game and have gotten that answer. Of course, if you choose all the, more violent options, you'll get Guardian as your recommended choice. But as I said, I would like to go with yellow.
Here is a yellow crystal for your lightsaber. Go speak to Master Jar again, and he will instruct you in how to construct it.
Alright, we can now level up as a Jedi Sentinel now. And as you can see at the top right there, our class has changed, and at this point, the game actually forces you to level up. I got directed to this screen automatically. You cannot exit out of this. And as you can see right here, we now have 2 points to allocate, and I'm going to raise my Persuade score so it's equal with my Repair. Feat-wise, we got Weapon Proficiency Lightsaber, Jedi Defense, Force Immunity Fear, Jedi Sense, and Force Sensitive, all by default. Force Sensitive. Jedi training affects each Padawan uniquely, allowing them to grow in ability while addressing personal flaws. On rare occasions, however, exceptional individuals open doors to strengths they did not know they had. This feat represents a heightened connection to the Force, previously unseen in a newly trained Jedi. This feat grants 40 additional Force points to the character's base total. Jedi Sense. The Jedi develops a connection to the Force that allows them to better sense incoming attacks. This feat grants +2 defense and is always active. I believe these two you will get no matter which Jedi class you choose, if I remember correctly. This one, however, you have to be a Sentinel to get this. Force Immunity Fear. The Jedi possesses an inner calm that cannot be shaken by mere threats to mind or body. The Force grants understanding, which is a shield that fear cannot breach. this feat is always active. And Fear is actually a dark side power, as we'll see later on. Jedi Defense, again another feat that applies to all Jedi classes. This feat allows a character with an equipped lightsaber to deflect blaster bolts at any time. When a character is fired upon, an opposed roll is made against the attack. If the result is greater than the attack roll, the blaster bolt is deflected. If the attack is beaten by 10 or more, the bolt is deflected back at the enemy. Jedi classes receive this feat at first level. And of course we got proficiency in lightsaber use, which of course grants us the ability to actually use lightsabers. And I believe that's it. We got one remaining feat, and I would like to go ahead and max out my 2-weapon fighting. And as far as powers are concerned, we get 2 at our first level. And from this point onward, we'll only get 1 on each subsequent level up, so we'll have to allocate those very carefully. I'm probably going to be very similar in powers to Bastila. I'm going to get Cure and Burst of Speed, and those are going to be very useful, although Burst of Speed we're not probably going to use until a little bit later, just because I can't use anything other than my armor unless I were to just wear normal clothes, which wouldn't be very good defense-wise. We will, however, get our Jedi robes when we finish all these tests, so it won't be very long for now. We just have to go to the Grove and come back. And thankfully there's not really a whole lot of combat involved, so... one thing I do want to mention about Burst of Speed, just to go ahead and clear this up right now. Like I said earlier, I didn't really know that Burst of Speed was all that useful, because I thought that if you used it, you'll just leave all your party members behind in the dust. But as it turns out, they move along at the same speed with you. Now, I do plan to use this if we're backtracking quite a bit in certain areas, but I don't really plan to use it when we explore new areas. And that's just because I want to, you know, actually show these areas in all their glory and actually allow you guys as the audience to take them in, instead of just rushing through everything. I mean, if we're going through an area we've already seen before, then that's a different story. There is one area that I plan to use it in, even when we do explore it for the first time, and you'll see why when we get there. But other than that, I don't really plan to use this all the time. Alright, that's it for level 6. I'm going to go ahead and keep leveling up here, though. So we're back at our top level. I'm going to go ahead and put a lot of points into Persuade for now, and you'll see why. I'm going to try to see if I can get a pretty tough Persuade option here in just a bit. For this level up, I would like to start developing Force Push. Alright, we can finally allocate more attribute points, so I'll go ahead and add more Dexterity, as I mentioned earlier, and more Persuade. Feats, I'm going to max out 2-weapon fighting, so now we have Master 2-weapon fighting, and this almost reduces the attack penalty entirely to 0/-2, which is really good. Powers, we can't upgrade Cure to Heal yet, nor can we upgrade our Speed, and I wouldn't really do that until we got to the point where we wore robes anyway. But I will go ahead and start developing Stun. And look at that, we just happen to be exactly at the point we need to be to get to level 9. That is really cool. I didn't even intend that, by the way. Let's see, Persuade again, and this time, Force Whirlwind. This is a really fun power. This power encircles the target victim in a small maelstrom of air and dust, inflicting 1/3 of the attacking character's level in damage every 2 seconds, and rendering them unable to take any action, 12 seconds total. A successful reflex save at a difficulty check of 5, plus the attacking character's level, plus the attacking character's wisdom and charisma modifiers negates the damage, and the immobilizing effects altogether. This power does not affect droids equipped with energy shield hardware. Very fun to watch, by the way. That's all we can do for now with us. Let's do mission next. More attributes that we can add to her. attribute setup. And I'll put 1 point in wisdom, actually. I'd like to add more to that. Skills, we'll give her the usual rounds. And I'll put 1 point in treat injury. Let's see. Let's go ahead and max out dueling. And Canderous. Like I said earlier, Canderous has attributes that suggest a melee fighter, whereas his strengths, or his, what am I trying to say? His feats, rather, seem to suggest a ranged fighter. And originally I was planning to develop both of them, but instead I've changed my mind between recordings, and I've decided to put more of his feats into implants, because I'd like him to use implants, since not a lot of our party members automatically get implants, because only scouts can do that, and only Zalbar is the only scout in our entire party. So I'm gonna add more points to dexterity for now. And let's see. Oh, treat injury. Or actually, no, demolitions. Treat injury, I think I may have said this earlier, but it's going to be more obsolete now that we're a Jedi and that we can use Cure, and later on we'll use Heal. I still intend to use med packs at some points along the way, but for the most part, I do intend to use my Jedi powers for healing, so we probably won't be using too many med packs. Feats, let's see. I think I'm going to start developing conditioning for Canderous. And that's all for now.
What?
Yes?
Okay, we have now gotten our lightsaber crystal. And we can now begin constructing our lightsaber. So let's talk to Jar about how we can do that.
Ah, good. Now that you have selected your crystal, we shall begin the construction of your lightsaber.
Looks like we're rolling dough. Okay, we've now got our yellow lightsaber. It starts off as 2 to 16 energy damage, with a critical threat of 19 to 20 times 2. Traditionally associated with the Jedi, the lightsaber is a devastating weapon, difficult to master. Properties can vary with the type of focusing crystal used in construction. And as I said earlier with Bastila's lightsaber when we were upgrading it at the workbench on Terrace, these slots right here are the ones that we will use to put additional crystals, which we'll find eventually. Now right now we've just drawn just our lightsaber only. And since we've got 2 weapon fighting, we need another weapon if we're to maximize our damage. But unfortunately we don't have another lightsaber at this point. And even if we did, we would need a short lightsaber so it could be balanced in our offhand. So for the time being, I'll continue using my prototype Vibroblade since it's a balanced weapon. And I believe, I don't know if we've upgraded. I think we have. I can check at least. Melee. Okay, yeah, we've got a Durasteel bonding alloy and a vibration, so we still don't have an energy projector yet. And I don't think there's anything else we can do. We've already upgraded our armor. And, okay, here we go. We can put our energy cell and hair trigger on Canderous's weapon. And Zalbar's bowcaster is already good as is, so we're good on that. So that's all we can do with the workbench, and unfortunately we've got only one lightsaber, so this setup kind of looks a little funny, but we will get a short lightsaber eventually, so there's no need to worry about that. Let's talk to Jar about our third and final test.
You have done extremely well in constructing your lightsaber, apprentice. Your crystal seems to have been set perfectly. It is rare indeed for that to happen the first time one constructs their lightsaber. These crystals are very rare, found only in certain caves strong in the Force. By adding crystals to your lightsaber, you can alter or enhance its properties. There have even been unconfirmed rumors of certain Force-sensitive caves here on Dantooine that may hold these crystals.
If we can find them, that would be awesome.
It is a rumor only. I do not know if there's any truth in it. But you must learn first to use your lightsaber and take care when drawing it. Your lightsaber identifies you as a member of the Jedi Order. With such recognition comes honor and respect, and the attentions of dangerous enemies. The Sith and Dark Jedi will seek to destroy you, apprentice. And you must prove yourself worthy in battle against a foe who also wields a lightsaber. Are you ready to face the final challenge, apprentice? For every Jedi, the threat of the dark side is always present. You must truly understand this before you are accepted into the Order. You must see the corruption of the dark side for yourself. Even here on Dantooine, there are places where the dark side holds sway, twisting and tainting nature itself. The ancient grove, once used for deep meditation by the Jedi, is now tainted. A wave of darkness perverts the region around it. The Kathhounds in the area have become savage and ruthless. They have become a threat to the settlers. A threat the Jedi have promised to stop.
What do we need to do?
The Kathhounds are but a symptom of the true problem. You must journey into the grove and confront the true source of the darkness. That is your task.
I get the feeling that there's more to this than he's letting on. In fact, I get that impression from everybody around here.
I can say no more. Some things you must see for yourself. None of the other Jedi at the Academy are permitted to help you in this task. But remember this, my young apprentice. A Jedi acts with patience and care, and those on the dark path are not always lost forever. The dark side still taints the ancient grove. Your lessons cannot continue until the spreading corruption of the dark side has been stopped. This is your task, apprentice. May the Force be with you.
Alright, we've now received our directions for the final test, and it appears that we'll have to confront whatever is causing these Kathhounds to go insane, and apparently, based on what we've heard, it sounds like it has to do with someone who wields a lightsaber. Well, that ought to be interesting. Well, now we can go outside. Thankfully, the droid will let us out. Wait a minute. Oh wait, we do have to talk to him.
But the Council has decreed you may come and go as you please.
Okay, that's good. Had me worried there for a minute. Well, we are now outside the Jedi Enclave now. It's really quite a nice place, Dantooine. And as that Twi'lek said earlier, there are a lot of nice fields and plains to explore here. But we'll have to do that in the next video.